Hi everyone, and welcome to my last ever floss tube of 2023. I cannot believe it's the 20th of December and Christmas is only 5 days away. So it made sense that this last video was of course going to have to be my WIP Parade, and I've been digging through my stash. My living room area looks like a tornado's come through it. This WIPs that I completely even forgot I had, so that's been quite exciting, and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. I just wanted to sort of start by just saying a big thank you to everybody who's contacted me over the last couple of months. 2023 has been one for the history books, that is for sure, and I can't wait to see the back of it. And I just want to say, you know, you stitchy guys have really got me through it, and especially the ladies that I meet with on a regular basis. So I just want to briefly just say thank you. I'm not going to go into detail, but you know who you are, and I just appreciate every single one of you. So without further ado and without me getting soppy, let's just crack on with the WIP Parade. I've got a mixture of full coverage, some fancy ladies, and then some smaller pieces as well. I know not everybody loves full coverage, so I'm gonna just mix them all in together and just add a bit of a variety in there. And then at the end I've got my stitchy plans for 2024 as well, which fingers crossed I stick to them. I did stick to my plans this year of 12 finishes in 12 months. I'm hoping I might have even got to 13 by the end of the year, but we'll see. I'll show you which one I think might be my finish. And if you're on my Instagram, you're probably fed up of seeing it already. So bear with me because I've got my little notepad here with all my stitching start dates and percentages I'm at. So I'm going to have to refer to these notes because, as I said, some of them I've forgot I had and some I've not even touched. There's probably another, I want to say 6 or 7 WIPs that are not going into 2024 and are probably either going to be just gotten rid of, which I hate to say that, but I think that's probably what's going to happen with them. Or there's well, definitely one that is going to be a restart, and that's the Lo and Behold by Long Dog Sampler. Just for the simple fact that taste in fabric and floss and everything have changed. But I have got a Long Dog that I'm going to show you in a little while. So once that's finished, that one's going to be a restart. But I think the others are probably just going to be FFOs. No. UFOs. Oh god, I don't even know the terminology, guys. I'm way out of sync with everything. But yeah, so what you see here today is hopefully going to go into 2024 and be touched at some point. Who knows how many finishes I'm going to get. I've got a couple that I definitely want to start, but I've got a project that I really want to finish as well. But anyway, I'm digressing. I'll show you that at the end. Let me show you the WIPs. So first one I'm going to show you is a full coverage. And this one is a mini afternoon tea. Oh, is it gonna, there we go. By Randall Spangler. And this is a Heaven and Earth Designs. So this one was started in November 2021. So just for reference, I started stitching during COVID in 2020, and for the first sort of 12 to 18 months I just started all full coverages. As you do, new stitcher, why not take on projects that are going to last you a lifetime? But that's what I did. So a lot of the full coverages are from that time. So I'll show you where I am at. and I'm going to apologise in advance. None of these are ironed. I would have been here all night if I decided to iron them all, and it's already 20 to 10. I'm just taking the opportunity because Lizzie's, my little 4-year-old daughter, she's having a sleepover with her grandparents, and Ryan is at work, my other half, so I just thought I'd get the opportunity while I could. So here we go. This is afternoon tea. I did majority of this last year, and then this year I worked on the chair, and I was adamant that I were going to get the dragon in. And I was hoping I were going to be a lot further on with this one. I really worked on this one around August, September time, but then just, I don't know, it just got put away and I didn't get it back out again. You know what it's like. So this one is at 19.5%. I'd like to think that I would be able to get this to, I want to say 50% over the next year. It's only a mini, so I think it's about 80 to 90,000 stitches, which sounds a lot, but I'm stitching this 2 over 1/10 stitch, so it should go really, really quickly. And I just love the colours that are in this one. The purples are fantastic. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't get much further. And I'll just show you my bag. I'm not going to show you all the bags, but this is one of my favourite ones. My chocolate frog Harry Potter bag that I made ages ago. One of the first ones that I ever made, I think. So that is that. And I'm sorry guys, I'm going to have to semi-tidy up as I go, otherwise I'm just going to end up losing where I am with everything. So I'll do another full coverage. So the next one, I used to be in the Gecko Rouge monthly voucher club. Was it Gold Club? So I've got quite a few Gecko Rouge kits. I've got, I want to say 3 or 4 that have just not even been started. They just sat in my stash and I don't know when they're going to be started. So yeah, I've got quite a few of those. I'm now in the Pain-Free Craft Club and I've got some of those to show you. But this is one that I bought from Gecko Rouge. So this is Rain, Tea and Books. It's by Medusa Dollmaker. For those that follow Gecko Rouge, so the Medusa Dollmaker kits are now being discontinued, but you can buy them on Etsy, and I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure you can buy this chart as a PDF on Medusa Dollmaker's Etsy page. So this one was started in August 22. And I'm only at 3.2% on this one. I do love the colours and how this is coming up though. It does look fab. But this is like 170,000, I think. It's a big chart, so it's 300 by 424. And the only bit I've done is just this top corner section here. So that one's going to take a long time. And it's funny, it's one of those that when I'm stitching on it, I love it. I can't put it down. But then as soon as it goes back in the bag and it comes off of my Lowry stand, then I just don't pull it out again. And this one is stitched on, all my full coverages are stitched on 28 count even weave gridded, and that one is stitched 2 over 1/10 stitch. So now for one that is not a full coverage. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this, and this has been my little project for December. So this is A Kiss for a Snowman, and it's the Dimensions Gold collection. This one has been sort of my travel piece in the morning, so after I've dropped Lizzie off to school I have about half an hour in the car, so I've been working on this one, and if I just fancy a night in bed because it's cold and dark, this one has been that piece. So here I am. Oh, I do love him. It looks even better on here actually than it does up close. Oh, but yeah, it's fab. So I've not got much to go. All the background is pretty much tent stitch, which is great, so it comes up really quickly. I don't know if you can see the details. There's quite a few blends in there, especially around his hat, and then yeah, around these bits here as well to get the shadow in. So I just need to finish, I don't know if you can see these stitches here, this is the edge, so I just need to finish her hat, the back of a jacket, and then there's a little bit of the background there. I wanted this one to be done by Christmas Day, but yeah, with 5 days to go and only, oh in fact there's no more school runs because today was Lizzie's last day, so yeah, maybe by the end of the year. But yeah, love this one. So that is that. Let me put that one over there because that one needs to go back in my bag. I'll show you one that I started this year. So this one is Gaia the Earth Goddess, and this is by Bella Filipina. I started this one this year at the Essex Needle Retreat, which was September. I think, I'm pretty sure that was in September. And she's only actually had about 3 days, which is a bit rubbish. But here we go, here she is. So the only bit I've stitched is that the right way? Is that the right way? No, sorry, that is the right way. I've done that much, I can't even tell which section it is. So this is this bit here, just a flowing bit of her dress. Again, I wanted to be further along with this one, but it's just not going to happen. And this is stitched on 28 count even weave. It's opalescent. I don't think you're going to be able to pick that up on here, to be honest. Oh, you can, just a little bit. So yeah, opalescent, and it's a very, very pale yellow with sort of quite a lot of white in it as well. So I think she's going to look lovely. And I want to say that I got her from the fabric from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. I'm 90% sure of that. And I just want to show you this that I'm keeping her in as well. So this, I actually did a bag exchange. So one of my friends, she wanted one of my bags and she wasn't using this, so she let me have this, which I can't believe she actually did. But this is from Canny Little Fox, and it's one of the travel pouches, and I love it. So she stays in there, and I've got a wonderful froggy needle minder that she has with her as well. So, and I kitted this one up myself, so I've got everything, all the floss, all the beads, all the fancy floss, Krynic, everything. So I got everything that was called for, with the exception of the fabric. And she's an interesting one. I've seen her finished on quite a few different ones. I've seen her finished on the called for fabric, and I think it's quite dark. I'm hoping that she looks all right on the lighter one. There's quite a bit of yellow and green in her dress, so I'm hoping it doesn't blend in too much. But yeah, I feel like she needed to be on a lighter fabric with all the pastel colours in her dress. So yeah, that is that one. So going back to my full coverage, here is one from a very, very long time ago. So this is, I think it's just called, oh yeah, there we go. So the Mad Hatter, that's the artwork. And then the mock-up, they're pretty much the same. This is the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. And I'm sure she's called Mrs. Peggotty on Etsy. I don't think it says it on here, but I'm sure that's what it is. Miss or Mrs. Peggotty. She does some fab literature artwork. So she's got like Mary Poppins, she's got Snow White, sorry, not Snow White, she's got all the Jane Austen characters. Who else has she got that I really liked? She's got Jane Eyre. She's got more Alice in Wonderland. I can't even think now. There's quite a few that I've favourited anyway over the years. And I'm pretty sure she's actually released a book now of her cross-stitch charts. So do go and check her out. I started this one in December 2021. And it's not very big, this one at all. So this is all I've done. It's back when I didn't know anything about fabrics, really. This one is just on, it looks to me like 18 count white Aida. And I'm stitching this 2/1 full cross. The coverage looks fab. The colours are amazing. And you can see for full coverage, it's not very big at all. I've done 10.7%. My only problem with this one is I don't enjoy stitching on Aida, which is nothing to do obviously with the designer. It's what I started it on at the time. But I think just because it is so fabulous, and that one would actually be quite a fun one for Lizzie to have in her room because of all the fantastic colours. I just need to pull my finger out with that one and get it done. It might be that that one has to become, I don't know, like my travel stitch or my bedtime stitch or something like that, because I'm pretty sure I could get that one finished, you know, fairly quickly. I just need to do it, which is the same of them all. So next one is one that I started in the summer, and I've not really stitched on it, unfortunately. So this is Salem from the little stitcher shop, and I absolutely love her patterns. Do go and check her out. She does have her own website and she sells them on Etsy. She's got some beautiful little Christmas ornament charts on there that she's released recently, but then she's also got some from previous years that she's given away as free, and I've downloaded some of those, and although I won't have enough time to do them this year, they're definitely on my list to do for next year. Her designs are quite simple in terms of like the colours that she uses and everything, but they're just so effective. She's really talented. I can't recommend her enough. This is where I'm at, which is not very far. Let me just put something behind it. So did a bit of the writing and the top of the dress, and that's it. The fabric is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So this is 46 count hand dyed linen. 46 count hand dyed linen by Coffee Craft Fabrics, and Megan was so kind to gift this to me. I think it's fantastic, the perfect Halloween fabric. And I'm stitching this 1/1. I think one of the reasons why I stopped was because I wasn't overly keen on the coverage of the black. Let me see if that will zoom in. But actually, do you know, it looks fine on here. Maybe I'm just my own worst critic. But anyway, fab chart. It's a lot of stitching, I have to say, with these big dresses and the big houses. But yeah, it's fab. Fab, fab. I love it. And then I'm just going to show you the bag that I keep this in. This I got from the same, so I started this at the Floss Friends summer retreat. I'm pretty sure it was a summer retreat. And I bought this from Sarah, who was one of the vendors there, who's the maker at Not Enough WIP Bags. I just love her bags. She has the best fabric choices. And even though I make bags myself, and I try not to buy things that I can make myself if I can help it, but Sarah is a bit of a weakness of mine. I buy hers pretty much every time that I go to a retreat and she's there. So next one, let me show you this one. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa here with all my whips. I've not actually counted how many I've got, but I want to say there's about 30. So maybe I'll have to count up at the end. So next one, I can't even say this, so I'm just going to show you the piece of paper. See, I'm rubbish with language. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. So it's a Heaven and Earth. It's a mini, but what I didn't realise was it was a max colour when I chose it, which was a big mistake on my part. So I think there's something like there's 124 colours, it says it there. And this is so simple but so effective. So it's a little witch riding across the moon with a forest, and surprise, surprise, I didn't get very far. So here we go. It looks really cool though, I have to say. Ignore all the missing ninja stitches in there, but I don't know if I can just get the light to catch it, but you can really see the purple down to the green of the sky. Yeah, it will look really cool. And then I just started doing the moon here, which, who doesn't love stitching white on white? And that is probably why it got put away and never got brought back out again. So let me see, I'll tell you when I started this. So November 2021, like when I started everything else, and I've got to just under 7% on this one, and I'm stitching this 2/110 stitch. This theoretically should work up really quickly because it's big blocks of colour, but because it's the max colour, it's just so many ninja stitches, it really is. The size is only like 10 by 15 inches, so it's not very big at all, but in that space there's 124 colours. Wow. So that's that one. That was the one that I was sort of really on the fence of whether I was even going to bring that through to 2024, and it might change. I might decide that I'd rather stitch on other ones, but I don't know. I wasn't ready to get rid of her just yet. Another one I've got, which is crazy wrinkled, so I do apologise. I'm not the best at looking after my cross stitch, I have to say. So it's another Gecko Rouge one. another Medusa doll maker one, and this is Little Gamer. So I got this one purely because my other half is a huge gamer, and he does really like all the nostalgic games, you know, like Mario and Zelda and Sonic. It's a really cool little design. Got the little Tetris blocks. The only sort of thing that I wish that I'd picked up on before I started on it was all of this blue. So the blue is actually just one colour, with the exception of these little stars in there. And there's over 20,000 blue stitches. 20,000 blue stitches. But I've actually got quite far on this one compared to my other one. So this was just started in December 2021, and it's got 23.5% on it. So almost a quarter of the way there. No, he's not called Zelda, is he? That's the girl. Is it Link? I can't remember. But anyway, he looks really good. Oh, the creases. So yeah, he looks really good. The little astronaut guy, who I have no idea who he is almost finished in the face. We've got the Tetris blocks that are finished, and then all of this blue and those stars. Again, if I just pull my finger out, this one would be a finish this year. Well, next year. So this one is 9 by 9 inches. It's tiny. I need to put him, I would need to put this one at the top of my list, I think, for 2024. And I always think there's so much more pressure when you say you're going to be stitching it for somebody. And that always makes me not stitch on it. I don't know if anybody else is the same. This is why I don't ever promise gifts for anyone that are handmade. And I'm just going to show you my bag. Again, it was made by me. But is that, oh yeah, I thought I had it upside down then. But yeah, just love the fabric, and it sits in there nicely. So that is that one. Right, I'm just going to have a 2-second break because I've now made a great big mess. I'm just going to shuffle everything around, and I will be right back in a second for you. I'm back with a fresh cup of tea as well, just what I needed. So let's carry on. So my next one is Fish and Chips by Long Dog Sampler. This one is just amazing. I love the detail in here. The big whale definitely is one of my favourite bits. In terms of actually stitching, this bit has been my favouriteest bit to stitch so far. Such a pretty pattern. And this is where I am. I'll just show you that. So this this is one thread. I'm not going to know what the number code is. So this is PR93, which is Silks for You thread. Is it going to show up? And I got a full hank of this one, and my lovely friend Leanne, who is very OCD, and she'll be the first one to tell you that when it comes to her threads, she very kindly separated this up for me and plaited it all together to keep it nice and neat. And when she did it in a way so I could pick and choose which colours I wanted to stitch with, which was fantastic. And that's what's allowed me to sort of separate each section, like the the whale is in the lighter colours, and then I've been able to add the orange here in the flower, in the vase section. So yeah, that whale is bigger than you think as well. But I'm about, I want to say 25% done, almost. So I've done this section here. And one of my goals for 2024 is to try and get this one finished. It will be my first long dog finish if I do manage to achieve that. It's not huge, it's 187 by 212, and I'm not doing the outermost border either. I'm chopping that off, but you can see that there's a lot of negative space in there, so I'm hoping that will be achievable. And stitching wise, I think it's either a 28 or 32 count, and I'm stitching this two over two full cross. Sorry, it's been a while since I've worked on this one. This one for me is very much a summer piece. Yeah, as soon as it got to autumn time, it just wasn't calling to me anymore. Beautiful colours though, love it. Again, I have no idea where that is going to go once it's finished. I might need to do like a seasonal display where each season the cross stitches swapped out. When we moved into this house, so we moved in sort of at the end of November, literally on the first day, my what is her name? Greta Goldblum by Bella Filipina. She's all fully finished and framed. She was finished, I want to say, maybe April time this year. She went straight up on the wall at the top of the stairs, and then my mini chatelaine that was finished around March time, that just sneakily got put on the wall in between like family photos and whatnot. So I've managed to get away with that, but then Ryan was sort of putting his foot down and was like, I'm not having cross stitch on every bloody wall. I was like, oh man. So I've got two pieces up, but it might be that maybe because Greta is very, very much a Halloween piece, really. She's a witch. Even though, you know, a lot of my friends have said, oh, I would have her up all year round. Actually, I could probably swap her around season by season, and maybe in summer I can put my fish and chips up there if he allows it. End of the day, it's two people living here, not one. If it was up to me, there'd be cross stitch everywhere. So back to a full coverage one now. This one was my birthday start this year, and I'm sure you've all seen the Chris Dunn pieces by Pain Free Craft. This one's called Bedtime Story, and it's a little mummy mouse, or daddy mouse maybe, I don't know, a parent mouse and a baby mouse laid in bed reading bedtime stories. And Lizzie chose this one. She said it was you know, me and her, daddy and her, I don't know, but yeah, she said that that was like what she does at night, because we're always reading her bedtime stories. So I thought that was really cute. So I do let her choose my cross stitch quite often, to be fair. The only problem is she will come to me in literally half an hour and be like, is it finished yet? I don't think she realised that she might be 20 by the time this gets finished. So this one, yeah, my birthday is on the 26th of February, and I started it on the 23rd of February, so just a couple of days before, and I'm at 3.5%. It's a biggie, this one. and this one I'm stitching 1/1 full cross, and I'm trying to just do it as I go, and not leave too many gaps, because for anybody that's watched me before, when it comes to the browns and the creams and the single sort of monotone kind of pictures, which this very much is, there's a lot of brown and creams, which I said I wasn't ever going to stitch again after stitching the floor on my cat. Which, why are all the names just disappearing? Anyway, earlier on in the year I finished A Heaven and Earth Witching Hour, that's it, cat, and I kind of just worked my way down, picking and choosing where I wanted to stitch, and I left all the ninja stitches till the end, and I also left all the floor, which was just 20 million shades of cream and brown. And with 2,000 stitches to go, I actually thought I wasn't going to make it through and I was going to scrap it. So I said I was never going to do that again. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to work through it logically, working along whatever the next colour is, just working it cross country, and then going back and trying to do the next colour, and then I'm not leaving all just the crappy bits till the end. But it's easier said than done, and 1/1 full cross takes me forever, literally half the time. But the stitches look lovely, nice and neat, very uniformed, and I'm sure it will look gorgeous when it's done. It just doesn't call to me. I think the half stitch, you can see so much progress in a very small amount of time. And the ones where it's a bit more colourful, you know, I can think, oh well, I'm fed up with stitching, you know, greys, browns, blacks, or there's a bright red or there's a bright purple, I'll just change it up a little bit. With this one, it's all browns and greens and creams, and I'm struggling with that. I don't know why, because stitch is a stitch, a floss is the floss, but it's just not grabbing at me. But I will do it because Lizzie wanted me to do it. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do any more Chris Duns. After admiring him for all this time, from Lauren at Flossabilities and through Ellie Welly Stitcher, I just don't think I can do it again. The only other one that does call to me is the Knitting Circle, which is the sheep sat around knitting the blanket, but that has a lot of different colours in it because the blanket's all multicoloured. Even though they're still muted tones, I think I'd enjoy that a bit more. And you can see that one, Lauren at Flossabilities, her mom is stitching that one. And sometimes she showcases her mom's work as well. So yeah, do check that one out. It is on my wish list. Whether I'll do it or not, I don't know. So back to another fancy lady. This one is Botanical Garden by Nora Corbett, and I got this from Hawkins Hobbies at the Knitting and Stitching show. I think it was not this year, the year before. Let me have a look, see if I've got that. Oh, 2022. Oh, that's flown. That has absolutely flown. So yeah, 2022, and I bought that in like the autumn time, and I started it in December. So here she is. I bought the full kit from Hawkins Hobbies with the exception of the floss. That's blowing that out quite a lot. It's not quite that light. There we go. Sparklers was just on the opposite stall, so I just got whatever I thought would look similar, and this is an opalescent one as well. She kind of looks a bit scary at the moment because she's not got a full face in, but she will do. And I saw somebody at the Essex retreat that had done, I don't know if it's actually a chart or whether she just converted it, but it's like the darker version with a lot of like deep reds and darker greens in it, and that just looked fantastic. Really, really great. I don't particularly enjoy the Mirabilia charts. I'm wondering if I can kind of show you, for any that haven't, I don't think this is going to give it away, but it's kind of on this sort of yellowish paper, and the blocks are super tiny. So unless I'm in good light, I tend to get a little bit confused because a lot of the symbols are very similar to one another as well. So yeah, who knows, who knows. Random bit of paper in there. So I will still carry on with this one, and to be fair, I don't think it will put me off. There's still quite a few Nora Corbett ones that I like. I've got a couple of the reindeer ones that are in my stash, and I love the sleigh that goes with them. So whether I do something with them next year, I don't know. I wanted to do one this year. I don't know if you've watched the Hygge Stitcher, Samantha. She's fantastic. She's such a lovely woman. I would love to meet her in person one day. I don't know if that would ever happen, but she's fantastic. And she's been stitching each one every year. It's very similar fabric, so at the end she can finish them as a whole piece. And I just love that idea. I would love to do something similar. But I'm not very good at following on my projects, so yeah. But I'm at least going to do one because I've got it all ready to go. I just decided to stitch on my little snowman this year rather than that. And I've not had much time for stitching with moving into the new house, so I've just needed something little. I didn't have access to like fabrics or floss or anything, and that was a kit. I just used the Ada that was in the pack. Even though I don't love Ada, at least I could have something to be stitching on rather than, you know, having to dig through boxes and whatever. So maybe next year I think it will be different. I'd quite like to do a few more ornaments and stuff next year, but for now the reindeers are on the back burner. This next one, again, I wasn't 100% sure whether it was going to come into 2024, but she has done. I don't think I've got a photo of this. Let me just check. I think it might just be, oh no, I do. Yes, I do. So this is Serena Sprout by Autumn Lane Stitchery. She just looks fab. She really does. This is my only one of Autumn Lane Stitchery. Surprisingly, I know everybody's done sort of the Dark Queen series, but I've just, I don't know, for some reason I've not taken them up on that. But this one was started way back in the day, so let's have a look. April of 2022, so she's coming up to nearly 2 years old. Oh my god, it does not feel like that long ago that I started her. And this is when I was just sort of starting to dabble into hand-dyed fabrics as well. So here she is, very, very creased, but she's looking fab. So this year I did pull her out, but the only bit that I did was just like one day of stitching on her dress. It's quite a lot of stitching, believe it or not. It doesn't look a huge chart, but it is. It really, really is. So yeah, she's going to look fab when she's done. I did substitute some bits. Kaylee Tent Stitch a long time ago. She gifted me some sulkies, and I'd never used them before, and I just thought this would be quite good colours to substitute them into because they go really well. So like the butterfly, a bit of decoration in a hat. Was it anywhere else? I think that was it. Just the flowers and the butterfly. I substituted for some of the sulky threads as well, just to see how I liked them. So yeah, that was quite fun as well. And now I'm seeing her, I'm kicking myself that I've not... 2 years. What am I playing at? I have no right to be starting any new projects, seriously. But anyway, I will try and finish her this year if I can. The problem is there's just too many nice things. I get easily influenced. So next one is a full coverage. Where is this one? So this one was started in August 2022, and I am thinking, I remember it well. I think this one, I'm saying she, I don't know why I'm calling them by pronouns, but I think this one only got 3 or 4 nights on it. It wasn't a lot at all. I remember hiding myself away in my stitchy area and listening to an audiobook and just stitching away at this one. So yeah, this was I'm gonna have to put a photo up because I've not got a cover picture. This is Hocus Pocus by Tilton Crafts, and it was supposed to be a sale between myself and Andrea, who's like my stitching bestie. She's the one that I do the retreats with, and I don't think she's got very far. I think she's got even less than me, so don't judge. But here I am with this one. I tried a few different things. I tried doing diagonals, which was great because this is only like 3 colours. That was great. And then I tried to do parking, which was no fun whatsoever. There was just so many colours in those squares. Although it's starting to look good, but yeah, parking is not for me. So yeah, that is where that one is. This one again was on the cusp of whether it was going to come through or not. It's quite a big pattern, and I'm not keen on like the pumpkin bit at the front. So I'm probably going to end up cropping it down anyway. But again, my mindset has changed. I used to just stitch on anything if I liked the picture. And now I'm thinking more of, if I'm investing that much time in this, where do I want it to go at the end? I don't want to just make something for it to sit in the drawer forever. I want it to be used and enjoyed and displayed somehow, and I think that's what's made me sort of UFO quite a few projects this year compared to the rest. And it's strange how, you know, your mind and your objectives change as you stitch, I guess. But I'm starting to realise that I can't stitch everything, so I need to choose things and have a bit of a plan for them, which when I started all these full coverages in like 2021, I thought, oh, that looks really cool, I really want to stitch that, because I was enjoying the progress of it. And now I've had some really big finishes and I've had them professionally framed and whatnot. I prefer that enjoyment to the actual stitching. I think I love to see a finish. It'd be interesting to know how, you know, what's your guys' motivation? Do you stitch just because you enjoy the process, or do you stitch because you like that accomplishment of finishing something and you like what it looks like? Obviously I like both, but yeah, just now I'm stitching because I want a finish, which that's only changed in the last few months. So yeah, I have a feeling by next year's WIP Parade, a lot of these are still going to be sat there and saying, oh, I didn't get to touch it this year, I didn't do anything on it. But that is me. This next one, I will absolutely do this one in my lifetime, but God knows when. So the wonderful designer of this one has sort of a contract with Disney to do exclusive artwork for them, and if you go to any of the Disney parks, you are more than likely to see some of her artwork displayed. And I just think it's fantastic. So she let me have copies of 2 pieces of her artwork so I could chart them into cross stitch and stitch them for personal use, which was just amazing. I was so grateful to her, so fantastic. You know, such a great opportunity, and I want to do it justice. So this was actually the first cross stitch full coverage that I did 1/1, and there's a lot of confetti in it, but it looks fantastic. So this is I think it's just let it go, and this is where I am. So this is Anna's face, young Anna, and I mean just the detail is insane. I charted this myself, so I can't give it out to anyone. It was, like I say, it was a gifted image that she sent to me for the sole purpose of me turning it into a cross stitch chart. And I mean, look at the hands, it's just, the detail is insane. I really need to get back to this. Every time I get it out, I just love it more and more. And Lizzie's only 4, and she loves everything Disney and Elsa and Frozen related, and we usually go to Disneyland every year, so this one is gonna have a lot of meaning to it. I think even when she's a grown-up, when this is finished, I will still treasure it, but I want to get this finished so she can enjoy it now. So this one, I think I did it at, I want to say 160,000 stitches. So for a full coverage, it's not that much, and there's a lot of black in the background that I think I will be able to do half stitch without it being ruined. But definitely for the face, it needs to be 1/1 full cross, and this is on 28 count again, like the others. But yeah, just love her. Need to just pull my finger out. This WIP Parade's making me annoyed. So where am I with that one? So I started this on the 18th of September 2022, and I'm only at 4.5%, so I've got a long way to go on that one. A long way to go. So let's do one from earlier on this year. In my not full coverage charts, I went Owl Forest mad this year. I don't know why, I just really fell in love with their charts, and I ordered quite a few of their thread packs, but I actually ordered a full kit of one of them, and that is this one, when it gets into view. I have no idea what it's called. I just call it, well, I call them my chickens, but I guess it's a chicken sampler. The colours are phenomenal. Let me see if I can just get you to see some of the threads. I've not even bobbinated them all as yet. They do come with little bobbins, which is great. Let me just show you one of those. So that's how they come. They come with the thread, oh come on, all wound up and then attached to a little bobbin, and then as I've used them, I've just bobbinated them. But the colours, they're so variegated. oh, well, I'm never going to be a filmmaker, am I really, with my camera skills? Here we go. Here we go. Look at the variegation in those. They're just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I got the kit. Shipping was on the expensive side, but I shared the order. Both times I ordered, I shared them with friends and we split the delivery costs, so it wasn't too bad at all. What I would say is though, I didn't like the fabric. The fabric seemed really cheap, but the threads are amazing. So I substituted it out. I used my own fabric from Stash. And here he is, the big daddy chicken. The colours are just stunning. You can really see the variegation in there, especially in the red. Love him. There is sort of, do you call it black work? Yeah, I think so. Black work all around him. And I tried to do that in the thread that they gave, which is, do I have it? This kind of, I don't know. It's like a, is it, do you call it perlé? Oh, come on. It's like really thick. There we go. So I did it in one strand, trying to do that bit, and it just looked awful. I couldn't get it to lay flat at all. And I was stitching this with my stitching friends at our meetups that we have, and you know, they were giving me all these different suggestions, and I kept ripping it out and redoing it, and sort of getting so annoyed that I just, after that, I just took all that bit out and decided that he was in the naughty corner. I didn't want to see him, and that not seeing him has now turned into about 5 months, so he should probably come back out again. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. So I think I'm probably going to leave that bit off because I don't think it needs it. I've got the intention of doing this for my sister. She lives on a farm and she's got tons of chickens, and yeah, I just think she is going to love this. So I have stitched this on a 32 count opalescent. It is hand dyed. Let me see if you can see. Probably not. There is a very, very subtle mottling to it. No, I don't think you're gonna see it. It's almost got like a slight green tinge to it, and there's bits of kind of there, not much though. Yeah, you can kind of see a little tinge of green, and I think that's just going to look really nice with the greens that are in the pattern. So yeah, when it's done, I think I'm gonna probably not, I'd originally said a cushion, but she's got 3 dogs and it's a farm, and there's forever sort of, you know, in the winter she's forever cleaning up. There's dirt and all sorts coming in from the animals and whatever, and there's horse stables everywhere, so they're always coming in like with muddy clothes on and everything. So with it being hand dyed floss, I think a cushion is going to be a bad choice for her, but maybe I'll frame it, or maybe I'll love it so much that I decide to keep the chickens for myself. But I have got the intention of making it for somebody. I'm selfish, I know. So right, next one. This one I have a love-hate relationship with. I bring it out and I think, oh, it's great, I'm going to work on it, and then realise how big it is and think, oh my god, I'm never going to finish it in a lifetime, so what is the point? And I've already restarted it once, and that's, I think I was about 7,000 stitches in, and then realised that I'd got one of the floss numbers mixed up. So instead of it being a Y, it was actually a really light lilac, and it just looked stupid. It didn't make sense. And then when I took it out to see if I could just unpick those colours, I actually realised that the orientation of the fabric was the wrong way. I'd been stitching on it in portrait and it needed to be landscape. So yeah, bad times. So I restarted it on another piece of fabric. This is Once Upon a Fairy Tale by Amy Stewart. This is where I am. So I originally started in the top left, and this is the bottom left. I'm sure when I get one block done, I will get motivated to work on it, but I feel like you just can't even really see what that is, and that is what's bothering me. It's not a max colour or anything like that. It's a normal chart. It's huge. You know, this is, I don't think I've put my, it's 1.5%, but I'm sure this is about 6,000 stitches. So it's a lot. It's a real lot. And this is like a dragon. And I think these are supposed to be like coins that is sat on, like treasure. But yeah, I don't know. When I see it done and I see pictures, I absolutely love it. But it's just not calling to me, and there's so much confetti in it that I don't particularly enjoy it when I'm stitching it. But then I think, oh, is it just that one section? If I could just persist, you'd love it. But yeah, I just don't know. And for anybody who knows me or watched, you know, my videos previously, you'll probably remember that this year I had a bit of like freeze on all my full coverages. I just lost all motivation to stitch on them. So yeah, that's why there's kind of not been much progress on them. I think Afternoon Tea, the dragon with the purple chair that I showed you right at the front at the beginning, that's probably the one and the only one that's had a lot of progress on it. But the ones like that I'm sort of humming and ahhing about whether I want to continue, they've just had no progress whatsoever. So I really need to have a think about, you know, whether I want to continue with them or not. But I'm not ready to part with them just yet, if you know what I mean. So next one, I think this one, let me see, have I even put this one on? No, I haven't. So this one, I think it may have been a Christmas star or a New Year's star last year. And this is Queen of Hearts by Owl Forest Embroidery. And again, I couldn't put this one down. When I first started, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Here she is. I chose a different fabric. In fact, I think it was around Christmas because I didn't have any fabric in my stash. And I ordered from an Etsy page because they said it was ready to ship, and I managed to get it like, oh, I don't know, like the day before Christmas Eve or something like that, something crazy. So yeah, I love all this. The flowers were great, really enjoyed stitching that. She's got lots and lots of sparkles in her, which I love. I'm just not loving this bit. It kind of looks a bit disconnected, and that's when I stopped. Oh, one little negative thing, and I'm just like, nope, I'm out. But she looks good, doesn't she? So on here, you'll see on the chart, if it goes back to normal, this is where the clock is. And then there is another motif, like a little heart motif on the other side. So it doesn't look out of place on there. So I think I do just need to persist with this one. And I actually spent quite a bit of money. I don't know if they're in here. I don't think they are. I think I put them in my bead box. But there are some really big gems. I don't think you're going to be able to see them, but you're going to be able to see them on the picture. Here, look. Can you see that? So she's got some really big heart gems in her. That were quite difficult to find, and I didn't order this as a kit or anything. I just ordered I just purchased the PDF and then kitted it up myself, just using regular DMC and petite treasure braid that I had in my stash. But I wanted to get those big heart beads because otherwise there was going to be a big gap and it was going to look a little bit strange. And I think they cost me a ridiculous amount of money. I think they cost me like £8 plus shipping just for like 4 beads. So for that purpose, I feel like I need to persist with that one as well. And now I've seen it, I like it more than I did when I put it away anyway. So next one. I feel like I'm such a negative Nancy. I can feel it. Everything's like I'm moaning about it, but I do love them all. It's just this year my mentality towards things has changed quite drastically, and I think that's affected what I want to stitch on quite a lot. Yeah, my focus has just gone out of the window, my motivation's gone, and then instead of having loads of WIPs that I'm working on at all different times, I found since October my mental capacity is just for one project at a time, and I've never had that before. I'm not a monogamous stitcher, as you can tell by all the WIPs. And I think that's probably why I'm just kind of thinking, do I want to stitch on that? Don't I? What are my plans? What would I like to focus on? And some of these big projects that I've not touched in over a year are just not really getting a look in. It's strange. Strange. So this is my next one. This is the Pocahontas Story Keep by Heaven and Earth Designs. I've mentioned this one a few times, so let me just see when I started her first. So she was started in January 2022, and I've done 25% on her. Here she is. So she's not very big at all. This was my sort of experimenting stage, if you like. So this is in CXC threads. She's got 89 colours, so there's still quite a lot, especially in her face. But it's quite chunky, so it's okay when you look at it far away. You know, she looks great. Love the detail. But up close, that's really quite bubbly. And it's 2/1 tent stitch in CXC. And really, I think she needs to be 1/1 full cross. But I'm 25% of the way done. And she's only small, so she is 5 by 12 inches. So I kind of still want to commit to that. And I'm just going to show you because it's crazy how many threads she has. She's only that big, and this is how many threads she has. But even though there's a lot of colours, actually, you know, after a few hundred stitches, you know, you could quite easily get a colour completion on these. So she might be a finish this year. I've said to myself that I 100% need to have a full coverage finish for the sole purpose because I want to start another full coverage. And I want to try and not go too high on my WIP count, or much higher than what it already is. So I want to try and get rid of some of them, and I think she would be quite an easy finish. So I think she has, I've not got my tablet, so I think she's got 20, it's either 28 or 32,000 stitches in her total. So for a full coverage, that's not a lot at all. And I'm already 25% of the way through. So I think if I just did, you know, 1,500 stitches a month on her, which for tent stitch is probably only a couple of days, I'd be able to get her finished in no time. So yeah, I just need to try and prioritise my time a bit, and even if it's not immediately calling to me, just try and aim to get that finish. So yeah, she might be an easy win, I think. Next one, let's do some more non-full coverage. This one I started on a little stitching trip I went on to with some of my stitching besties. We went to Wales in autumn to visit some of the needle workshops, and it was amazing. I can't actually remember the last time I laughed so hard. It was such a good weekend. I loved it. I didn't want to come home. As much as I miss my family, I did not want to come home. So I started this then. This is a mock-up of the chart. Hopefully you're going to see that. It's October Mood by Owl Forest Embroidery. And I got the call for threads, but I stitched on my own fabric. Let me see if I can show you some of the threads. I'll not show you the bobbinated ones because I can't hold them. I get myself all in a tiz. Where's some more? So here we go. Here's just some of them. So again, beautiful, beautiful threads, and they're super duper soft to stitch with as well, so I do highly recommend them. And you might think I'm bonkers for this, but I actually stitched this 2 strands over 1 on 40 count, but because the colours are so bright, I just really wanted them to pop. Let me see if I can show you. And I actually don't think it looks too bulky at all. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. I don't think this one will come out again until probably next October. I do love it, I really do. But there's just been so many other things that I've wanted to stitch on over and above that one. Next one is one of my own designs that I did. Have I even written this one down? Oh yeah, so I finished charting this one of January 2023. And I just really wanted to dabble with that sort of sampler style and make some. Sorry about that. So my battery decided to just completely die on me, which was unexpected. It kind of went to 2 bars and 1 bar and then cut itself off in the space of like 2 minutes. So I'm not really sure where I'm at, but I'll try and do a bit of editing magic to try and make it flow. But so this was the one that I was showing you when I got cut off. So it's one of my own designs that I did in January 2023, and it was my first sort of attempt at doing anything in kind of a sampler style, and it's called Squirrel Farm. And I've done the big house, done the top half of the border, which has got all little squirrels and leaves, the alphabet, which my other half kind of said was stupid because it goes A, B, C, D, E and then farm, but I thought it was cute. And then I've just got the little tree and the back half of the border to do, and then it's finished. You know, the house was the big bit, so I just need to, again, just do it. So the next one is Home of a Needleworker. I'm sure you have all seen this one, and this one I was doing as a stitch along with my friend Andrea, but I'm pretty sure she has finished hers. So I was just using what I had in stash, still over dyed, but not necessarily the called for, but it looks similar. Biggest difference is that I've done blueberries instead of the red berries, but some of the other is still the same. You got the little house in there and the top bit of the border. I've probably only actually stitched on this at sort of maybe a couple of stitchy meetups. The idea of this one was that every time we met up with each other to do some stitching, we would stitch on the same project. She has done the house, I think, and not the rest. That's what I remember from the last time I saw it, whereas I started just at the top left like normal. So yes, sorry Andrea, I will pull my finger out in 2024 and do some stitching on that one. And I just want to show you, these are what I keep in that little bag. This was what I designed for the summer retreat. So it's just a little scissor fob. It's got an anchor on one side and the crab on the other, and I just did it. I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's very, it's just white opalescent, but it was super cute, and it probably only took me, oh man, I don't know, a couple of hours to stitch it and fully finish it. And it's just super cute. I really like that. That was my first time making a scissor fob. Oh, let me put that one back in. So those two that I've just shown you, they used to be my work projects sort of at the start of the year, and then for some reason I stopped stitching on them, so I need to just get back to it. So next, another full coverage, and this one has been pulled out this month because it's a Christmas one, and I seem to only stitch at this one at Christmas. And this is just an ornament, so it's small, so it's 9 by 9 inches, but look at all this here. So as you can imagine, it is, you know, confetti heavy, severely. And I don't particularly enjoy stitching on this one. It goes really slow. So even though it's intense stitch and usually goes really fast, so I can usually do, I don't know, between 400 or 500 10 stitches an hour. On this one, I can still only do about 200 to 250 because the confetti is so heavy. but this is where it's at. You can see the antler in there, and then the little tree on the back of the sleigh. This is the next lot of antlers that's coming in here. Obviously the background was easy, but this is insane. It's so much confetti, but it will be worth it when it's done. And it pretty much, if I'd placed it correctly, it would pretty much fit in this hoop. So that's why it's in a hoop. I don't tend to use them very often, but it's quite nice just to see as a guide of how big that would going to be. And with it being circular, I would probably end up doing a little fancy hanging finish in the hoop, so it's just kind of a bit of an oversized ornament. I really wanted to get further on this one. I'd probably say I've only done, I don't know, 500 stitches this December. I would have liked to get a lot more. Let me tell you where I'm at percentage wise. It would have helped if I put these in order, I think. So this one is at 22%, and I started this December 21. I wanted this to be a finish this year. No chance. But still, you know, 20 odd percent. If I'd just focused on it a little bit more, maybe I could get it to 50% by next Christmas. Who knows? So my next one absolutely needs to come out very, very quickly. Again, it's just, in winter I only want to stitch the wintry things and the Christmas things, but this is one of my favourites. So this is Koi Pond by Shannon Christine Designs. The picture does not do it justice whatsoever. I started this just off the back of finishing my mini chatelaine, and let me just show you this. I had to start doing some of the beading just to see what it looked like. It's just phenomenal. And again, this was another one where I had to go bloody the other end of the world to get the beads. But it's just, oh, all of this is crying. All of this gold. In fact, I think I used petite treasure braid, but you can see the sparkle in there. You can see all the beads. All of this here, just beads, beads, beads. Just love it. And it's not very big at all, but it's very time consuming because of all the beading. But I love it. So yeah, that has got to be a finish this year. It's got to be. Just because it's so stunning. It really is. So, in fact, I'm not even going to put this back in my WIP pile. I'm going to leave this one out so I can put it in my main active WIPs. Next one. Again, I don't even know why this one's not finished. This one, I started it in October and I've not even put it on my WIP list. Don't really want to tip it, but this is a Mill Hill kit. I forgot what it's called. Wander's Wands. This one is called, sorry about the glare, hopefully you can see that. And it's like a little haunted wand shop. And it comes with the little, I bought it as a full kit. And it comes with the little pumpkin button. The problem I have, you'll know if you have had one of these kits. I can't cope with this. Everything's just mixed in together and I'm lazy. There is no excuse. I am too lazy to put them all on floss drops. So I've hardly done anything. I just stitched it on the perforated paper that it came with. I couldn't get my words out then. So that's what I've done. Hardly anything at all. But it looks pretty cool. It does look cool. I don't particularly enjoy the perforated paper. I don't know what it is. I'm not somebody that can stitch sort of in hand usually. I like to have some kind of hoop. So it's been a little bit strange trying to get the tension and everything right. But I think it looks quite cute. It looks nice. Maybe this one just needs to be another little travel piece. I don't know. But I'm not in particularly any rush to get it done, and now the Halloween season is over. Yeah, I'm just not really feeling it at the moment, so it's just going to stick in my WIP pile along with everything else. I didn't realise that I was such a big seasonal stitcher, but this year I've just... yeah, I've really been feeling the seasons. Oh, sorry, I've knocked the camera. So we're almost there. Oh, sorry, I've really moved things around. My camera is not happy. It died again. Oh, right, so where are we at? Right. 2 more to go. So the next one, I will show you a picture. So I actually saw this completed in one of the full coverage stitching groups, and I just absolutely loved it. And I found the lady on Instagram. Unfortunately, she's a Russian designer, so she's no longer on Etsy, and I couldn't buy from her Russian shop. Google just kind of blocked me, and I'm not going to get into it, sort of the whole, you know, should we buy from Russia or anything, but this lady has not personally done anything wrong, and I really loved the chart, so I messaged her and said, could I just buy it direct? And she said yes. So I was really appreciated. I really appreciated that. And I think she's called I want to say it's Lady D on Instagram, but I can't remember exactly. My brain's gone to mush. It really has. So this is the chart. Hopefully you can see it. And it's a scene from The Hobbit. So this is when they're in sort of the Waterlands area, and then this is Smog, the big dragon, and it's got quite a bit of back stitch, which is a bit unusual for a full coverage, but I just loved it. So I only started this like 2 weeks ago, I think, so I've not done much. Here it is. There's a lot of blends in this as well, so this is actually only 3 colours, but majority of that is blended. And then you can see here, this is where the wing's going to start coming in. Now it did call for a 14 count, which I get for doing like the back stitch and everything, but it was going to be huge. It was going to be like 30 inches, and I just didn't want anything that big. And then I prefer 28 count for full coverage, but I'm not convinced how well the back stitch is going to work. So I'm just going to do a section first, do everything, the stitching and the back stitch, and then see what it looks like. If I think the definition is not quite right, I might have to scrap it. Or try and stitch it on like a 18 count or something, I don't know, but fingers crossed this is gonna work, because I really like the design and I've had my eye on it for a while. So next one, I'm getting really tired now. It's like 20 past 12 at night. The bloody battery in the camera has made this last like 3 hours. So last run, we're nearly there. So this one is another one I started this month. So this is Winter Garden by Drawn Thread, and I got this on the trip when I went to Wales with my stitchy friends. I got the full kit, so it came with the called for fabric and the silk threads as well. Is it silks? Yeah, dinky dye threads. I'm not sure how I feel about this. So I think it's 32 count linen. The fabric looks a little bit different to the picture, and it calls for 1/1. Now, because it's a kit, I obviously have to do what it says, otherwise I'm not going to have enough threads left. But on the picture it looks so white, the house, and this, I don't know, it looks a little bit washed out. But I love the pattern, and I've got it full kit, so I'm going to do it. And it looks a lot whiter on here actually than it does in person. But yeah, I'm going to do the house and then I'm going to see what I think. But I have a feeling, because it's a winter one, it's actually going to be going away in a couple of months. So I want to try and get a little bit more stitched on that before it just heads out into my WIP pile. But the house is actually stitching up pretty quick because it's just one colour, all the bricks. So that should go nicely. I've got a couple of drawn thread kits that I got. So I'm gonna, before I start them all, I'm gonna make sure I finish one. I'm comfortable with all the stitches in, because there is some crazy stitches in there. Some that I've never even heard of, never mind attempted. So before I have multiple WIPs on the go from them, I need to make sure that I understand the pattern. Right, you made it to the end of the WIPs. What I'm going to do now is just go through a bit about plans and oh, what is going on with this camera? I'm just going to go through plans, and then yeah, a couple of bits about challenges and whatnot that I'm going to be doing. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so firstly, one thing that I just wanted to show you was just my latest finish. So as I said, I've not really been stitching on many projects over the last few months, with the exception of the last 2 weeks where I've started like 3 new things. But between September and December, I was only stitching on one project, and that is this one. So it's all finished. This is from Modern Folk Embroidery, and I think, what's it called? I wanted to say this was called Winter Garden as well, but I don't think it is. But yeah, it's from Modern Folk Embroidery, and I stitched this in Silks for You, and it doesn't look very big, but this has had so many hours in it. It's taken so long, but it's done. I'm still not sure what to do with it. I was gonna originally make it into like a bit of a Christmas pillow, just to come out at this time of year, and that was my intentions why I did it in the green and the red. I'd had it intended for it to be finished sort of way before now. I thought this were going to be fully finished by the beginning of December, but just things happened and it wasn't. So yeah, it's probably not going to get fully finished now until next year, but I'm still on the fence about what to do with it. So if you've got any suggestions, do let me know. So I have set myself some targets, which I'm going to go through with you and let you know what I intend to do. I'm not going to be so strict on myself. This last year has just been horrific, and there's been so much stress, and I overcommitted myself to several different things in the crafting community, and when my personal life kind of went to crap, the pressure of the crafty commitments just really made that 100 times worse. And although everybody was lovely and so kind and supportive, I'm not going to put myself in that situation again. So I'm doing the retreats, and pretty much everything else crafty is just for me. No extra stitching boxes, no pressure on releasing patterns for certain events or anything like that. I am just going to enjoy it myself. So that's what I've done. Well, that's what I've thought about when I've been setting my targets. So my first one is I would like to finish one of the Fancy Ladies by the end of 2024. Whether that's going to be Botanical Garden or Gaia the Earth Goddess or a different one, who knows what happens, but those two are the ones that I've got on the go. Probably should be Botanical Garden because she's the one that's been on the go for the longest, but that is one of my plans. The next one is I want to start and finish one of the strawberries. Now I'm sure you've seen them by all different people, but I must have about 5 or 6 Erica Michaels patterns in my stash, and I really want to do one of the strawberries. I think I've got a couple of Christmas, I've got a Halloween one, I've got like a Harvest Autumn one, and then a couple of others as well. So I've never fully finished one of those before. They look really tricky, but I'm collecting all these patterns and I'm kind of too afraid to do it. So I'm going to challenge myself this year, and at some point I want to stitch and fully finish a strawberry. And I'm sure like you have as well, I've been watching Teresa Little Stitcher, and she's great at doing those little strawberries. So I've been enabled over the past few months, and I really want to do one myself. The other thing that I want to do is when I went to, again, the Wales trip to the stitching shops, I bought, they're not full kits, but I bought some of these block party designs. So I got the bee one and then the wool one, and I got the little Button Company pins, which is so goddamn adorable, and this little patch that goes on the top. I'll just show you the other ones. There you go. That's the wool pins. So I want to try and do one of these and fully finish them. I think I'll probably end up doing the wool one. I want to get some whisper thread for the little sheepies. I've not used whisper thread before, and I know quite a few of my friends have said that it's a nightmare, but it's worth it in the end. So I want to give that a try, just to do something a little bit different. I don't really have a stitching area at the moment, but I have bought, the kitchen, the house that we've moved in, the kitchen is quite big, and it's kind of got an area that we're using as a utility area, and I brought like some little stands and things, which Ryan at the time didn't know what they were for, but they've got the full intention of being to display my little cross stitch pillows. So I can bring them out if I want them to, or they can be sort of semi hidden away, and they're not going to affect our living environment, because he just supports me cross stitching because it makes me happy, but he doesn't want to see it all around the house, which is fair enough. So I'm thinking that they could, when they're done, they could go on my little stand and they would look super, super cute. So yeah, so that is that one. I mentioned earlier that I really wanted to finish a full coverage, which is one of my targets, but that is also linked with me wanting to start another one. So usually around Christmas time, Heaven and Earth Designs, excuse me, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Heaven and Earth Designs have a a sale on where everything is usually like half price. And in 2021, as I said, I was buying all the things and starting all the full coverage, and I bought this one in 2021 and I just never started it. It's absolutely huge, but I love the design so much. So here it is. It's called Beauty and the Beast, but it doesn't really look like any Beauty and the Beast that I've ever seen before. I just love her dress. I think it's gorgeous. This angel face down in the bottom in the garden. It's like a statue has been knocked over. The wonky gate, and then that's the Beast there. And her red hair. I've got a thing for redheads. I would love to have bright red hair. So yeah, I just love her. I really do. And I've wanted to start it for a long time, but I've just kept saying to myself, no, you've got too many, and that's a big project, so just hang fire. So I'm not saying I'm going to get much progress on it, but by the end of 2024, I wanted to have got some stitches in it just to say that was a 2024 start. My other thing is that I want to try and finish Fish and Ships in the summer. That would be a fantastic achievement. And then the next thing, which is just making me so nervous, and I've had so much anxiety over this and I don't really know why, but I want to start my next chatelaine, which is Swan Lake. So I got this kit a while ago now. See if it'll do close up. So I bought the full kit from Hawkins Hobbies. Came through and I was super excited, had sort of a bit of a plan in mind of what I wanted to do, and then just, I don't know, I'm not ready, I'm nervous about it, I've got a lot of anxiety, I just think I'm gonna mess it up, and yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I need to grow a pair, man up in 2024, and I'm going to start that at some point, probably around springtime, you know, when all the chaos of Christmas is over, and hopefully I can get a little bit of annual leave booked in. I feel like I've not had any in so long. Yeah, hopefully I can just get a bit of time where I can sit and just have a day on my own and just start this. So on the website there was a few different sort of colour recommendations. One was like the really dark black, and then the other one was on the white, but I didn't really want to do either. There's a lot of I don't really want to be crinkling all the threads, but there's a lot of sort of blues, greens and lilacs in the colours, the specialty threads. I've not even really unpacked them, but yeah, golds in there as well, loads and loads of sparkly golds. Oh, now they just look like Christmas, don't they? Gorgeous, gorgeous. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful colours. Lots of blues, greens and golds. That's predominantly what they are. So yeah, gorgeous. It cost a lot of money, which rightly so, because there's a lot of things with it, and I think that's part of what excuse me, is causing the anxiety a bit about it. I'm not really an anxious person, but I don't know, I'm just so scared I'm gonna mess it up. I searched on a few different companies' websites for fabrics. I needed sort of, to get a decent border, which I'm going to want, I needed like 30 by 30 inches, which is huge, and it was going to be quite costly. So I decided to just dye some myself, and I'm really happy with it. Sorry, it's super crinkled. But it's 28 count opalescent, and it's sort of a light, it's not showing up too well there, but it's like a really light pale blue with like a mottling of a lilac in there. So yeah, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, there we go. So it's really nice and light. It's not going to take away from the pattern at all. But in those negative spaces where there's no stitching, there's just going to be a little bit of colour. And I think that is going to complement the threads and the beads so nicely. And I already had the fabric. I already had the RIP dye. So instead of it costing me sort of like £70, which I think it was I got quoted, it cost me nothing because I already had it. So that was a great saving for me. And I knew that if I messed it up, it didn't really matter because I already had it and it was just sat there. So it was worth the risk. So yeah, so that is my challenges that I've set myself. I've signed myself up for the is it the letter sal, where you have to, so throughout the year you have to allocate yourself 2 letters a month, and you use those as a prompt to stitch on, just for a little bit of fun. I'm not going to be so crazy strict on it, although I think they might be a little bit strict in the group, but I'm not going to be strict with myself. And if I decide that I can't do it, then I can't do it. But it's just to give me a little bit of motivation to try and stitch on some of these other WIPs that have not really had a look in. I've also signed up for the house series from Cottage Garden Samplings. You'll know from my past videos if you've watched them, Cottage Garden Samplings are probably my favourite designers. I love everything that they do. I loved the bird series and I've started sort of collecting them. They came out before I was really stitching that kind of pattern. And then I didn't like the snowman, I'm afraid. I'm not, I know I'm doing the Kiss for a Snowman, but for me snowmen are just for Christmas. Not for the rest of the year. I loved all the other little bits around the snowmen. I just wish that they weren't a snowman. So yeah, I didn't do that one. The animal series, this is where I'm sort of coming back to. I want to finish my bits on those before I start the houses. So I've signed up with Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. I don't know if she's cut it off now, but she was still accepting people to sign up for that. So she's going to give you the patterns, and then you could either choose from one full piece of fabric, or she was going to cut it into the 12 pieces and then send it out monthly. So I'm going to get it, I think, starting in February. So I've got 2 months until they're going to be here. So it's going to be a while until, you know, I get to start them. So that's made me think I really need to pull my finger out now with the animals. So I'd said originally I wanted to stitch 4, 1 for each season, and then put them up in a frame, so I had a season per square. Now we've moved here, Ryan doesn't want them on the wall, and I'm making out to sound like he's a right grump, but it's not. I get it. The house that we live in now doesn't really have space for, you know, loads of frames all over the wall. It's quite a quirky little house with lots of nooks and corners and wood beams and things, so they don't really go, and I get that. I completely understand. So I've had to try and think about what I can do if it's not framed and it's not a cushion. What can I do with these finished cross stitch? Now for the last sort of few, well, I'd probably say 12 months, I've had a healthy interest in quilting, but I've not really delved madly into it. I have dabbled a little bit, got fed up, and then moved on. But now I've got a bit more free time, I feel like I can invest myself a little bit better. So the 12 houses I want to make into a big king size quilt when they're done, and that is going to be my first like massive quilt, and hopefully Ryan will let me use that as like a bed topper, not to sleep with because I don't want it to get ruined, but just for display purposes. But that's going to be years down the line because I know these patterns and they take me a long time to stitch, so I'm not in no mega rush for that. But what I am in a rush for is to finish off these animals. So last December I did the reindeer, and he's on opalescent. So yeah, he is gorgeous. And then in the summertime I did the bear, which again is on nice sparkly opalescent. They're all on 28 count because I wanted them to be the same size. And then, as I said, my plan was to stitch 2 more. So the reindeer is obviously for winter, very Christmassy. The bear is for summer. Forgot myself then, is for summer. And then I needed one for spring and autumn. So I decided on these 2. I've got the raccoon. Whoa, camera skills again. I've got the raccoon for spring and I've got the owl for autumn, and I've already got the threads for that. So I just need to get myself some fabric sorted out. I've still got quite a lot of white opalescent, so it might be that I just buy some more RIT dye and I dye them. Because these 2 are blue, I want to do the other 2 in green, and it's going to be sort of winter, spring, summer, autumn, so like they're you know, coordinating colours. So that is them. And then what I decided to do was treat myself to some quilting materials. So I bought myself like a new cutting mat and a new rotary cutter because mine, I don't have it anymore. And I wanted to look at some complementary fabrics that were going to work. And I've been a fan of Tilda fabric for a long time, so I went ahead and bought some little, like charm packs to go with that. So there's some great like little seasonal ones in here. Sorry, this is called the hibernation pack. So let me just show you. So that's like your winter one, your autumny ones. Let me just see. Got like spring colours in there. So some blues for winter. Got some lovely like reds. Let me see. Let me find a different one. Yeah, so it's basically like the same print but all in different colours. So I thought I could split this up because I've got red, blue, green and sort of orange. That would kind of go with the colours that I'm doing the animals in. So I've kind of got a bit of a design in my head, but once they're finished, I'm going to lay it all out and then turn that into a throw where it's seasonal in each block. So I'm quite excited about that. I want to start it now, but I still need to stitch up the owl and the raccoon. So once my snowman is finished, because I'm not starting anything else until he's done, I'm then going to focus on probably stitching the owl next, I think, and then the raccoon straight after. It might be that I start doing some of the laying out for the quilting before they're finished, but I don't want to get ahead of myself until I can see what it's going to look like, because these were so expensive for what they are. So yeah, I got the strips and the, are they called a cake? Is it called a cake? I don't know. But anyway, I got the strips and then the little blocks, all from the same series. So altogether, I think they were about £60. So yeah, a lot of money for what it is, but I love the Tilda fabrics, and I think this is just going to make such a gorgeous woodland blanket. And we're living in quite a rural area with, you know, woodland all around us and fields and wildlife, and yeah, I think this is just going to be the perfect project for this house. And my intention is that this is going to be a sofa quilt, so we can all get snuggled in under. So yeah, excited, nervous, but it's going to be awesome. I'm binging YouTube videos of how to quilt at the minute to try and learn. But that's it all for me, I think. I have no idea how this video is going to come together because of all the messing up with the battery, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've been influenced and seen something you like. I'd love to hear from you guys and what it is that you're planning on doing for 2024. If there's anything, any good sort of like little challenges that are not too intensive but are a lot of fun, please do let me know, because I'd love to get involved. Just to try and get me back into my stitching rhythm and yeah, get some finishes again, get some projects done. So yeah, I'm not gonna guarantee anything, but I'm hoping I can be back again in the next sort of month, probably at the end of January, just to see if I was able to get anything finished and anything started, but I'm not going to commit to sort of a schedule like I have in the past. I will see you when I can. Thanks again everybody for watching, and I will chat to you soon. Bye.